Hi gang, this is my second video. Not gotten any more professional, I know. I thought I'd talk today about, somebody asked me, how do you get started? There is a ton of videos out there and books and websites on how to get started writing. The simplest thing is to just start writing. People say, well, I don't know what to write about. I don't know where it went to, a jar that I had strips of paper in, and each strip of paper had a subject. And that would be what I wrote on every single day. I do some writing. One time I could not figure out for the life of me what I should write about. And so I called my son and I said, give me a subject. And so he said, because he was out morel hunting at the time, he said, Mom, write me a poem about mushrooms. Well, I'm pretty sure he did not expect what he got. This is what I wrote: The Toad King. Today I went for a walk in the woods and discovered a small cove hidden away, full of mushrooms. Ah, I said to myself, here is an important fairy city. The toadstools were varied in color and shape. Some, I knew, were quite deadly. Some quite delightful. Some spotted, some white, and there, ahead of me, a very large toadstool indeed. And what was that upon it? A large toad with a small crown upon his head. Ah, this must be the realm of the Toad King. And I quivered with terror to be facing him in person. He nodded at me majestically. I quickly bowed, backed away, and left, letting the branches I had pushed aside close again, gently. I have not gone back since. So that's what came from one writing prompt of mushrooms. You can write about anything and make yourself write an entire paragraph. Now, if you cannot think of anything about that subject, you just don't know what to write, make a list in your paragraph. If I couldn't think of a poem or a story to write about mushrooms, I would have made myself a little list. Mushrooms, polka dotted, white, toadstools, and then my brain would have started going slugs, toads, fairies, and after a while, writing all this down, the poem or the story would have come to me. And if you do that with just about anything, you'll find that your writing gets a little better. And you don't have to keep it all. I do. I've got an entire file cabinet of stories and poems that got started and never got finished. That's okay, because later on, when you become a published author, you can make an anthology and have all your poems. There you go. Right now I am working on a story that will be the fourth book in the Gray Valley series, and I wanted to show you what I've got here. I've got my recipe box with my cards in it, index cards, and then I have this particular one is Gray Valley, and then inside of Gray Valley, the section, I have got all of these cards. I'm working on the fourth story, so that's what these are right now. These are from the first three stories: lightning bugs and fireflies and fairies and trolls and humans and flutterbys and all kinds of things that are going to be in Gray Valley. So I keep them in this box, and I keep them on index cards like children at school, lightning bugs, and his name is Curled Leaf. Now, I know from the previous 3 stories that lightning bugs are kind of scared and they like to hide, and they're always named after something that they hide behind. The trolls, on the other hand, are named after stones or things that happen to stones. Thus, the best magic of all has Toe Stubber Troll. Children at the school, one of the trolls is Gray Pebble. And then when I have the flutterbys, this one is Splotches. You're getting a sneak peek here at the end. It looks like someone threw paint at him. Good friend to everyone, but sometimes lonely. So we're going to probably fit that in, except that I've also got one called Whisper, one of the flutterbys, who's very, very shy. So I am not quite sure yet if this book is going to be about being lonely and trying to make friends, which is kind of what Gluggle, the story about Gluggle did, or if I'm going to do one about Whisper and being so shy and not really wanting to do that, or the fact that they're at a school at recess when they meet the flutterbys, and the flutterby children, which of course are caterpillars, they go into school with the children. The children are all excited because these little gray and green and brown little things are coming into school with them, and so they're learning about the flutterbys, and the frogs are very excited because that's kind of the way they come out too. They are hatched from eggs. They have a period of time where they're one form, in other words, tadpoles, and then they grow up and they become frogs. Just like the caterpillars start out as eggs, and then caterpillars, and then flutterbys. And so there's going to be a lot of crossing between the books, which is what I want, because I want children to like Gray Valley. I want them to visit it often, and that is one of the reasons why Frogs was the 3rd book in the series, because trolls, now my trolls are friendly, right? Some kids might be a little scared of trolls, and fairies, yeah, some people aren't too sure about fairies, but frogs, everybody knows frogs, and flutterbys they're butterflies, of course, but the children call them flutterbys, and that's what they become known as. And butterflies aren't scary either. There's supposed to be a lightning bug story, but it does not want to be written yet. And that is one thing you're going to find if you write children's books, or any book for that matter. Sometimes a story you intend to write is not the story you get. The characters in your head, as writers, we always have characters walking around and speaking and dancing in our head, and they don't always do what we want them to. They argue with us and they wander off, and we have a new character come in, and all this is going on. So when you see writers going, that's because we've got all this stuff going on in our head. So I hope that if you are a writer, you write every day. Don't worry about if you self-publish. That is fine. That used to be a horrible, horrible thing. It is no longer a horrible, horrible thing. So go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day and keep writing.